Hey guys, in this video, I will be commentating and showing you guys my study on making UV mappings and texturing in Blockbench. Let's get started. After I made the model, I first started by organizing the UV mapping of just the face. In my previous models, I used to separate the UVs of the nose from the front face. But after checking out some PS1 textures, I learned that I could have just let the mesh give the textures its depth. I also tried to fit everything in a 256 by 256 texture file. It's the size of the Regina texture file that you can see in the background. For the actual face, I sized an area of 60 by 75 pixels. I use this as the limit size for the face since it's near the same dimensions as the Regina face in the reference. You would also see that I'm stitching the left side of the face with the front. I used to have them separate before, but I learned that not only does it save me space in the canvas, but it also makes the seams in the textures to be seamless in a way. To further save space, I also mirrored the right side of the face and overlapped it onto the left side. Since I knew that the sides were basically the same, it saved me time from texturing that side. The ear was pretty simple since I only had to deal with a couple of UV maps. I basically just drew an ear and made sure that the UV is capturing most of it. For the colors, I do think I improved a bit from my previous works. Basically, when I do my textures, I have 4 colors in mind: the highlight, the base color, the midtone, and the dark shadows. Having these colors for most of what I was texturing helped me create depth to it. It also sort of like manually baking shadows to your models. From this point on, it was just about making sure that the textures look good enough. I've only recently tried making decent hair textures, so my approach to this was to UV map the hair in parts. Of course, I saw this technique on a Final Fantasy PS1 model. What I did was first deal with the bangs. I sized the UVs of the bangs near the same pixel density as the face. Then what I did was sketch out an initial drawing of how the bangs would look like. And based from that, I adjusted the UV maps accordingly. It was a bit of a challenge since I had to create proper separation from the forehead and the top hair. After I was satisfied with it, I just UV mapped the other side of the bangs onto the already made one. And this actually made me like texturing hairs now. The fact that I can reuse textures that I already made made the process a lot less tedious, and I was able to focus more energy onto making sure that that part looked good. The rest of the hair was simple. Since I did one half first, I just overlapped the UVs onto the made ones later on the process. For me to properly UV map the hips, I also had to UV map the front chest of the model for consistent pixel density. I think I gave this part of the texture a 60 by 105 pixel limit, since it is also the same with the Regina texture file. Honestly, this one was a bit easy since it's basically a box with added faces. What I had to focus on was making sure that the textures looked good. So what I did was to pick the same 4 colors for this part. All I did was put shadows on areas that I think would always be in shadow, like the underside of it. And to make it look not that flat, I added some highlights on parts like the top area of the belt and like the colors of the pockets. I actually didn't take too long on this part since all I did was mostly texturing. Since the UV for the chest was already placed, all I had to do at that moment was to give it a nice texture. I noticed that there were color differences from Misato's inner shirt from the original and the rebuild. I wanted to get the best of both worlds, so what I did was pick colors with shades of purple for the inner shirt and later pick colors for the jacket with the rebuild palette. Since the jacket part was a bit more complex, I did the same approach I did with the hair on this part. I first textured the front half side of the jacket so that I could just overlap the other side to it later on. This made the process more manageable for me since I am able to see my progress a lot easier. Then I slowly pieced the parts of the jacket later on. I made sure to group the related textures near each other so that I wouldn't get confused if I ever had to move some textures. Most of the texturings I did for this had me to make shadows. I know I'm still not as good as I want to be when it comes to colors, so I took my time with this one. I had a simple logic when thinking of where to put the shadows. I basically have in mind an imaginary light on top of the model, and then if I think that a shadow would logically be there, then I shade that area. I smoothen it out later by either using a darker or a lighter color. The next parts of the model were pretty easy to make, and I think that the video process itself would be enough of an explanation. With that, I will see you guys near the end of the video. Alright, the video is about to end. I first want to say that this model can be viewed in my Sketchfab account, which I have linked in the description. I also want to thank all of you guys that has continuously supported the channel. It has already been 1 year since I started this channel, and I hope to continue making models and videos for even longer. For all the people who have commissioned me for the past year, thank you for your support. You guys have helped me out a lot, and I am grateful for it. Anyways, I hope this video process would also help you guys out with your models. Thank you again, and see you guys in the next video.